Growing up, my sister Lila was the sunbeam and I was the girl in the garage. While she racked up debate trophies and student council posts, I soldered boards beside a rattling fan. Mom's face lit whenever Lila spoke about transformative leadership and her plan to reinvent tech. "Your sister has vision," Dad liked to say, watching her glide through a PowerPoint about a high school incubator. "She knows how to build something real." I learned early what real meant at our table, not code, not late nights debugging, not launching tiny web tools that quietly paid my phone bill at 16. My earnings were pocket money, my future a caution to study serious subjects like Lila's pre-law track. College only sharpened the contrast. Lila ascended to Harvard's business temples. I chose a state school lab with humming servers. Family gatherings became Lila's highlight reel. Goldman internship, elite founder boot camps, photos with venture partners. "She's making connections that matter," Mom told relatives. When I mentioned an API I'd built or a scheduling app that hit 50,000 users, conversation skimmed away as if my words were pop-ups to be closed. I learned to be quiet. After graduation, Lila launched a startup with confetti articles and a stage-lit demo day. The family emptied savings into her seed round. Dad carved the Christmas turkey and declared she'll change everything. I rented a modest apartment, kept my old hatchback, and opened a consultancy under a neutral name. Fortune 500s hired me to untangle their digital plumbing. Technical? Discreet. My invoices were fat, my presence intentionally small. At dinners, I nodded, asked gentle questions, and let the room believe I was still the girl with gadgets for now. 2 years in, the glow dimmed. Lila's company sprinted in place, headcount up, burn up, product late. The family called it growing pains. I read the numbers the way I read logs, for heat and error. Quietly, through a lattice of vehicles and one clean VC facade, I wired in the lifeline. 150 million, anonymized on purpose with terms that handed control to the capital. To Lila, it looked like coronation by the serious people. The house turned cathedral. At dinners, she spoke about institutional partners who offered decades of guidance, and my parents leaned in like parishioners. I kept my old hatchback, my neutral shoes, my questions precise. She took them as the curiosity of a hobbyist. But quarters told the truth. CAC climbed, revenue per seat sagged, deadlines slipped. The board, my proxies, pressed. Lila answered with vision decks and a brighter laser pointer. The family mistook brightness for burn. The night it tipped was a wet Sunday. We were crammed around the table, windows fogged, Lila glittering with a fresh rising star badge. She swirled her wine, smiled at me with practiced pity, and delivered it like a closing argument. "Real business can't be faked. You have to know investors, markets, scalable systems. You can't just fiddle with computers." Laughter flared. I chewed, nodded. Inside, a switch flipped. Enough. When everyone left, I opened my laptop at the counter, hands steady the way they get before I refactor a gnarly codebase. I drafted the note to the managing partner. Withdraw our entire position, liquidate this week, redeploy to higher yield opportunities. The message was efficient, bloodless, final, the keyboard equivalent of pulling life support. I closed the lid. The rain kept talking. Tomorrow would too. By morning, VC had stacked calendars. Lila called, voice thin at the edges. "They're pushing an emergency meeting," she said. "Something about capital reallocation." I kept my tone gentle. "Then we'll see the numbers together." We did. The partners, my conduit, walked through churn, runway, brittle assumptions. They announced withdrawal. Lila argued vision, total addressable market, inevitable scale. The spreadsheet didn't blink. Afterward, our family group chat detonated. Mom convened dinner, triage. We ringed the table again. Offers flew, uncle's contacts, cousins' pools, my parents' retirement. Lila lifted her chin. What we need is a real investor, 50, 100 million, someone who understands tech. She sent me that sympathetic smile. I was tired of the theater. I placed a call on speaker to my advisor. We discussed liquidating positions, direct equity, and my controlling stake. Meridian, vehicle Lila revered. Silence widened, then cracked. Lila's breath caught a thread snagging. You? She whispered. I nodded. Me. The weekend rethreaded our lives. On Monday, the board accepted my proposal. Interim CEO from industry, Lila shifted to senior product, burn-halved, goals grounded. I kept the team that shipped and let slogans go. We cut features no one used, priced the ones everyone did, and stopped chasing conferences. 6 months later, we crossed profitability with the click of a well-fitted part. At home, air changed. Dad asked questions and listened to answers. Mom admitted she'd mistaken spotlight for substance. Lila and I rebuilt our language from please review to good work. She is good. Once the stage lights dim, she sees users, and she ships. As for me, I kept the hatchback a while longer. Not as camouflage, but as reminder. Real isn't loud. It runs, it scales, it lasts.